How you going, guys? Curtis from Cutting Edge Engineering. Today's job, we're going to be getting back onto our Frenochrome project and we're going to get started on building the new boom section. So if you missed it, when we were sandblasting all the parts of the boom, we did find a lot of rust and pitting in the last boom section. And we also discovered that the manual extension was bent and we would need to rebuild both of them. So I quickly decided, because I wasn't going to need to reach 20 plus meters with the crane, I'm not going to rebuild the manual extension. Those funds and that time can go to something else in the project. But because the manual extension has the end on it that has the pulleys, the 4-block and the rhino hook, we're going to adapt that to the boom section we're going to be rebuilding. So we were able to get the new piece of RHS for our boom section. It is the exact dimensions we needed, except the wall thickness is 10mm, not 6.5 like the original one. Unfortunately, I did have to buy a 12-meter length of it because they don't sell them in a 6. So we're probably going to sell on the other half of that material, but we're not going to start on the RHS. Our plates that we've been waiting for have finally arrived, so we can start building the other end. So all of our new plates, they are 350 grade, and I did get them laser cut. I decided, because I'm going to be rebuilding it, I'm going to make some enhancements and some upgrades. So one of the big limitations we have with our Mac 14 and the way the boom end and 4-block are configured is head height. So the original end of the boom with the 4-block and the hook, it does take up about 1 meter of space. That causes a lot of issues, especially when we're trying to lift something out of an enclosed truck or we have limited head height and we can't shorten our lifting gear anymore. Sometimes when we're lifting big machines in and out of the workshop or through a doorway, we will need to do multiple setups in order to get that machine where it needs to go, so we're not dragging it on the ground. And the only way to gain any more head height with the Frenochrome's current configuration is to remove the 4-block and the hook and lift off the rhino. So because I've got the opportunity to change the configuration, I've designed this based off the Mac 25, which has 2 rhino hook positions, and it is also able to tuck its 4-block out of the way, which will end up giving me another 800mm of headroom. When you're lifting in a confined space, that is going to make a significant difference. So what we're going to get started with is getting our main end plates set up and in alignment. Once they're in alignment, I can then machine the holes to size, and those holes will be for the pins for the cable pulleys. So I'm just going to give all the plates a quick sand. That's just to remove any debris or any high spots. Making sure all the plate is flat and clean is going to make it a lot easier to get everything set up and in alignment. Now with all the plates cleaned up, we're going to get these 4 set up so all the holes are in alignment. These plates are made from 16mm material. It is a little bit beefier than the original end on the manual extension, but because we changed the configuration, we had to beef things up a little bit. So we got those plates set up, got all those holes in alignment and everything square. It was that easy to set it up because we went with laser cutting on this. It is so much cleaner than flame or plasma. So now I can tack those together. That way we don't have to bore one plate at a time. We can do all 4 stacked together. So we're also going to tack together the 2 plates that make up the 4-block, because they also have holes that need to be machined. And these plates are actually 25mm because that's what the standard ones were on the original 4-block.
Oh.
So we've got our first hole centered and our boring head set up ready to go. The holes have been laser cut to 78mm, so we only have 2mm to remove in order to bring them up to 80mm to suit our pins. So that's our first cut done. It's measuring at 79.1, which means we have 0.9 of a mil to come out. So that's a depth of cut of 0.45 of a mil. So we'll advance our boring head and take our final cut. So we've got that bored to size. That's going to be a nice neat fit for the pin. Now we're going to do the other hole. So that's the holes bored on these plates done. Now we're going to get the smaller plates set up. We have one hole to bore on them. Alright, so we got those holes bored. There is one spot that didn't quite clean up, but that's not going to be a problem because there is just a pin going through there. That's why we don't get things laser cut to size, because they're not always perfect. And I have decided while it's set up, I am going to machine the other holes because I'm not exactly happy with that surface finish. So we're going to bore that until it cleans up. That is not a critical dimension. There is a pin that goes through there that holds the hook onto the floor block. So we've got a bit of room there, and because we're making our own pins, it's not going to be a problem. Now that that's done, we're going to machine up the pins and the spacers. So the piece of material we're going to be using for our pins is 80mm 4140 chrome bar. First thing I'm going to do is face it and chamfer it, then I'm going to drill and tap it for an M20 bolt. Now with this side done, I'm going to flip it and take a clean up cut so I can measure it. Now we've got our measurement, I can machine it to length and do the same as the other side. With our first pin done, we're going to do the same thing to the second one. Now with our pins done, I need to machine up 2 spacers. I'm using a scrap piece of unhoned tube. These are solely a sacrificial piece of material that we are going to use to hold the 2 end plates the correct distance apart for when we go to weld this into the boom. So all I need to do is part these to 116mm.
Where'd they go? Here they come. Hello. Hello. There you go. Yeah. Bye.
Righto guys, so that's our pins and spacer tubes made for the end plates, but before we can get them set up and tacked together, I have to bend up some flat bar. So this flat bar is going to be bent around the perimeter of the end plates. Not only is it going to make it look good, it's also going to be a end stop for the fall block to pull up against. So I'm just going to use the end plates as a jig to bend the flat bar around. So I'm just going to separate them, put them back to back, and that'll give me a nice supported area that I can bend the flat bar around. So that's our plate set up. Now we can get on to bending our flat bar. What we're going to be using is 50 by 10 mil. So we've got our flat bar in position. I'm just going to heat up the areas where I want it to bend, and we're just going to work our way around it. So that worked out really well, and now this has cooled down enough. We're going to get this one out of the way and get the other one set up.
god. Destroy everything.
There you go.
Get away. Oh, Curtis.
The dog did that. I'm not going to touch it because my hands are making
Hi, me. On your bed.
Lay down. Good boy. Stay. So that's our second one bent to shape and cooled down enough. I'm just going to cut off the excess. Before I tack on the flat bar, I'm going to get the plate set up with the pins and the spacers. And to keep everything secure, I'm just going to clamp these pins in. Righto guys, so that's the end plate for our new boom assembled. I'm really happy with how everything's turning out. Next thing I'm going to do is get on to assembling the foreblock. So I've also gone ahead and made up the pin, the spacer tube, and done the main pressing on the bottom plate. So now we can put this together. Eyeballs. Now I've got that set up, I just need to finish bending this plate into shape. Due to interference issues, I wasn't able to do it with our press tooling, so we're just going to use a little bit of heat and some panel beating. So I'm not too happy with how that bend came out, so I'm just going to heat it up again and then I'll have another go. So that worked out a lot better. I'm just going to stitch this in place. Now we're going to flip it over and do the same thing to the other side. So with all that done, the last thing I need to do is tack in the top plates.
Silly bugger. Jeffrey. Whee!
Righto guys, so that's all of our plates assembled for the new boom end and the foreblock. So the next thing I need to do is fit the new end into the RHS before I can weld it out, but you'll have to stay tuned for the next video. Thanks for watching. So now that that's done, next thing I need to do, oh wait. Oh. My brain is not working today.
Why do I have to use mine for you as well?
So we do have the RHS for our new boom section. Oh fuck, what was after that? What am I saying? Oh my god, I can't even get words out. Now with this side done, I'm going to flip it, take a clean up cut. What was after that? So our flat bar's in position. Oh wait, what? What was after that? Help. Please help. Right, are you ready? What was I saying? So the piece of material we're going to be using for our pins is 80mm 4140 chrome bar. So the holes have been laser cut to 7. Now I've measured it, I can machine it to length and drill and tap for an M20 bolt.
Oh. Good morning, Cutting Edge Engineering. How can I help you? Sorry.
What?
Are you mainly tacking, like, you're not tacking this end?
No. Oh, how am I going to build that?
Just checking. Is that sizzling? Ooh, ooh, I don't like that sound. Right there, oh my god. Curtis is hugging it.
I like it.